Hi guys, it's Andy Gorman, and I've got to say thanks first and foremost for watching the channel, watching everything else we're doing, whether it's Insta or Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn and Clubface Golf. Give it a try, go and have a look at it. Clubface Golf, it's the new community for all golfers. Quite interesting. There's a few followers already watching what we're doing. But of course, I'm here doing a video based on a question that's come up in a podcast. So this will follow the podcast. So if you haven't watched the podcast already, watch it. It's Andy Gorman Golf, One Putt podcast. Those of you that are regular listeners, we do appreciate it. You know, we're getting some great hits and great reviews now. So thank you for that. If you like, feel free to do so. And you can also buy me a coffee. Go check on the link just below. I've been in here, I'm a little bit worn out. Right, so at 7 o'clock this morning I was on my way to the gym. All for the purposes of strengthening the back. I've hit nearly 100 golf balls in here testing a golf ball for the cause, for our special requests, because we're looking for a winter golf ball, maybe. Okay, so I am a regular gamer of, those of you that follow, Tiger Woods' Bridgestone XS. So if it's good enough for Tiger, it's good enough for Andy Gorman. That's been my strap line now for a number of years. Might have to change it. So we've got some data and we've got some information that we're going to share with you, and ultimately we've tested a handful of balls. Right? Those of you that are in the know of golf will have heard of things like Bridgestone and Titleist and Strixon. So we've grabbed a few from the local stores. We haven't asked for anybody to drop any to us, and I've got some demo balls from Bridgestone for the ball testing that I offer my students. We actually do a ball fitting program here as well. And the idea is that we get some baseline data for how a ball feels, obviously what it looks like in terms of, you know, does it, or what colour is it for a start? I suppose you can get different colours these days. You know, does it after a couple of hits show any wear and tear, especially when you've got one of these clubs in your hand? You're generally not going to scuff it up much with your driver unless your driver's pitted because you've been playing dirty golf balls, but you know, most of us don't do that. And I know most of you just spent $350 on a new driver, and so, you know, it's all nice and not so shiny, but you know what I mean, it's nice and smooth. But we're trying to dig out data. So, you know, what's the golf ball fly like? What's its distance like? What's it run out like? What's its spin rates? With these clubs, the wedges, spin rates are really important. You know, as is descent angle and, you know, all that goes with that. And we're going to post some data up that will help you, well, not really decide, but to at least understand a little bit more about what we've been able to establish. What I can say is that the golf ball that I've been using for quite a while, I could flick a coin on whether or not I change it. So it's a toss-up between Tiger and Bryson. I've got to be perfectly honest with you, having been playing the XS ball for a number of seasons, I had no reason to change it. But who wouldn't say no to 20 yards if it's available? So of course you try everything, don't you? So we've been trying the Bridgestone X. I'm impressed. The acid test is putting it to the test out on the golf course. In here, the performance data is very comparable. Okay, spin rates are relatively similar on the driver, which is important. Golf ball does fly a little bit further in the X. Wait until I get mine first before you rush to the shots, because you know otherwise there won't be any left. But ultimately, I think we're going to be gaming this in answer to Neil, the Scotsman in Texas, his question: do you change compression? Would you change golf ball during the winter? Now he's in Texas, so it doesn't get that cold, not like here in the UK, and like the northern climes of America, in which case you can't play. But it does get cooler. You know, I've been out there in the winter and I know what it's like, and it is, you know, can be a little bit like, you know, here in the UK as well. So games of golf in the mid-40s, low 50s during the winter are not uncommon. So would you go for something that's going to be a little bit more resilient to the colder, windier conditions? If the ball can come off a little bit quicker, maybe you would do that. And that's what you used to do. For me, you know, golf balls, I never switched compression of golf balls when I was a kid, but it was a conversation that I often had with my dad and, you know, the pro at the golf club, and we talked about it a lot this time of the year. Do we switch? Now I remember the 100 and the 90 compression golf balls that we had back in the day. It's all changed now because we don't necessarily measure in compression, we measure whether it's got an X or an S, or, you know, a plus or non-plus. So, you know, do you use the ball that is slightly harder during the winter? And I would be inclined to say, based on the data we've got here, when you're playing into softer greens, which you know you will be doing, you go with a slightly harder ball. And if that helps you to hit the golf ball maybe another 5-10 yards further off the tee, you're probably not going to notice much difference with your irons, but you may get that golf ball to spin a little bit less into the greens. And when the greens are super soft, you know, then you've got a lot of spin on the softer cover ball, then you may find, and it's a disadvantage to have all that spin. Now, what I will say is, and this is the bit we've got to test outside, I'm increasing the spin rate on my pitching wedge, but reducing it on the driver, on the X. On the XS, I get a very stable spin rate right through, but I don't hit it quite as far. So that kind of leads me to sort of, do I go Tiger, do I go Bryson? I'm not sure. I really am not sure. They're both exceptionally good balls. What I will say, and we've got the data which will come up on the screen, is that we've also tested the wedges, we've tested the ball speeds coming off the wedges as well. I've got to say that comparable ball speeds with the driver, very similar clubhead speeds, ball speeds, smash factor data that, you know, we'll share with you. Ultimately, there's very little, I would, you know, sort of between any of the golf balls, to be fair. There's a little bit of distance, you know, but that's ultimately carry-wise not a huge amount. It's the rollout based on the limited spin, and I've got to say that the the X does produce a little less spin, and I've had drives here which have been in excess of 110 mile an hour, 310 yards, and ball speeds are running out at over 162, 164 mile an hour ball speeds, which is nothing compared to Bryson and Rory pumping out. I think he did a 180 the other day and was like really happy. He might be a 190, I don't know. Anyway, all these numbers they mean nothing. They're your numbers, they're my numbers. Bryson's numbers, Tony Finau, we know, regularly pumps out over 200 mile an hour. Ball speeds, these are crazy ball speeds. I'll tell you now, ball speed is not happening if you're not swinging this, or more importantly, this one, at crazy numbers, okay? Back in the day when I was a younger, fitter, maybe not so leaner athlete, right? I was able to generate over 120 mile an hour with one of these things. I've been measured at over 125, just not quite 126, but over 125, swinging my driver. I was regularly hitting golf balls, 300 yards carry, because you can if you're hitting the golf ball with that sort of clubhead speed. 6 weeks ago, I was measuring my driver speeds at 108, 109 at a push. I'm now nudging the 115 mark again. I've just spent 5.5 weeks in the gym. Feel like every single day in the gym as well. So I'm working to get my back stronger, I'm working to get my body more supple but stronger. I'm working to get, not because I'm looking for distance, that's going to be a byproduct, but for me to be able to stand in front of a camera, for me to be able to stand in the studio, for me to be able to sit at my desk at home when I'm doing remote coaching, I have to be able to stand, sit, flex, swing, and I do want to play a bit of golf going forward. Whether or not I compete is irrelevant. I do want to be able to play some golf. I also have an additional spinal injury which has been sort of diagnosed now. I do have a slightly more severe than minor scoliosis. I have to strengthen the back in order to, one, help to straighten it, one, help to keep it flexible. You know, I've got to stretch through this left side. It's all gotten very tight. I didn't know what was going on. I've gone and got myself a PT who knows an awful lot about golf. Shout out to Ray Jacob, the golf PT. Follow him on Insta and Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else that you can find him. He's a great guy. He does remote screening. He will work a remote program out for you as well. But I've been working with Ray in his gym, and you know, he's been putting me through my paces. You know, I never thought, you know, even 6 months ago, you would have asked me, "Oh, you've been in the gym, Andy?" No, I didn't know what they looked like. I couldn't be bothered. Just not for me. But to get my body in a place where I can still teach, still stand, still sit, still do what I need to do and function on a daily basis. Remember, for 43 years I've abused this body. One-dimensionally swinging a golf club, it's about time I put something back into the body, and so I'm working out. I always thought I'd hate it. I've got to be honest with you, I'm not quite living for it, but I am enjoying it. I really am, and I get a lot out of it, plus the fact I'm starting to look and feel like I've done something different, and the chassis feels like it's improving. So you know, Go Faster Stripes coming soon. But we're seeing Go Faster Stripes swinging the golf club. So this golf club is swinging 5 miles an hour faster than it was 5 weeks ago. So that for me is testament to some of the work that I'm doing in the gym. Yes, no question, but actually just the fact that I was able to hit 60 golf balls with the driver flat out, trying to get to 115. More importantly, I've been hitting fairways. Alright, it's on the simulator, but I'm hitting it nice and straight. Smash factor numbers are quite high at 143 on average, so that's pretty impressive as well. And he's given us some decent numbers. We're going to punch them out on the screen, so don't worry about what they are. I can't remember them. We've hit that many different golf balls. But on average, we're going to have those numbers going out there and just give you some interesting data. We've also been testing a golf ball that doesn't have a name on it. It's rain. Quite fun. Alright, I have no idea whose it is. My man behind the camera, Gareth, brought them to me and said, "Andy, you're the man to test this new golf ball. Outside of the company, nobody else has tested it." So do thank the guys. I don't even know who you are, so I can't even thank you personally. Gareth will do that behind the scenes. And we've got some interesting data on there. What we've got to look at in terms of a golf ball is, how does it play? What's it feel like? How does it perform? You know, is it durable? Does it stay white? I think that's one of the questions these days, because that's part of the durability factor. And you can't do that until you're out on the golf course with it. So it's something that we're going to be testing out on the golf course as well. Trouble is, this time of the year, it's getting a bit cold, a bit wet, and so some of the data we will get on the golf course won't be quite as subjective as it would be during the middle of summer. That said, we might have to do it. So we'll find a nice warm day somewhere in the next 6 months, which might be a bigger challenge than just hitting golf balls, and we will get and do something very similar out on the golf course as well. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening to the podcast. All of the channels, you know where they are, you know where to find me. Andy Gorman Golf. Do appreciate your time. Give us a big thumbs up. As many good reviews as you can. Throw a bad one in there. If you don't think you don't like it, that's absolutely fine. Your opinion is valued, and we will respond accordingly. But if you can do that, and if you do like it and you want to buy me a coffee, I'll drink one with you. Thanks for watching.